September 28, 2012, a Fox News helicopter is broadcasting live coverage of a high-speed police chase involving a stolen vehicle. Behind the wheel is 33-year-old Jodan Romero, a convicted felon who had just carjacked a man at gunpoint in a Denny's parking lot in Tonopah, Arizona. During the pursuit, Romero opened fire on police cruisers, forcing officers to retreat and wait for backup. The helicopter continued following him until he eventually pulled off the road and exited the vehicle.
You never know. Maybe he's taking the carjacked victim to the victim's house. Now, this scares me. What are you doing out in the middle of nowhere, getting out of the car? I'm just not sure about this. He's getting things out of the vehicle, clearly.
Moments later, Romero starts running aimlessly, appearing disoriented with a gun in hand. What happens next is truly terrifying. Without warning, Romero turned the gun on himself, ending his life. The shocking moment aired live before abruptly cutting to anchor Shepard Smith, who urgently called to cut the feed, but it was too late.
No, get off, 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 get off it, get off it, get off it, get off it.
At that moment, the realization set in that Fox had just broadcast a man's death live on air. Shepard Smith quickly apologized. However, hundreds of thousands, including many young children, had already seen the horrifying incident.
Sometimes we see a lot of things that we don't let get to you because it's not time appropriate, it's insensitive, it's just wrong. And that was wrong. And that won't happen again on my watch. And I'm sorry.
Following the incident, news of the broadcast sparked immediate backlash against Fox. Critics argued that the network should have cut the live stream when Romero exited the vehicle, or at the very least, imposed a longer delay to prevent the tragic moment from being aired. The shocking footage also prompted Jodan Romero's wife, Angela, to file a lawsuit against Fox, citing the severe emotional and psychological trauma it caused. She revealed that their children, after hearing rumors about the incident, searched for the footage online, only to be devastated when they realized it was their own father. However, the case was ultimately dismissed by a judge who ruled that the broadcast addressed a matter of public concern and was therefore protected under Fox's legal rights. The unsettling broadcast has largely faded from public memory in the years since, but those who witnessed it live still remember the shocking moment in vivid detail. The incident highlighted the inherent risks of live television, where unforeseen events can unfold in an instant. The Fox News 2012 broadcast will undoubtedly go down in history as one of the most disturbing moments ever captured on live TV. Jimmy Savile was an immensely popular British media personality who rose to fame as the host of several highly successful shows on the BBC network from the 1960s to the early 2000s. One of his most famous programs, called Jim'll Fix It, which premiered in 1975, revolved around Savile granting the wishes of children who wrote to him, earning him a reputation as a champion for kids and families. Beyond his on-screen persona, Savile was also celebrated for his charitable efforts, raising over $40 million for various causes throughout his life. However, his wholesome and charitable image often led people to overlook his peculiar behavior on camera. While admired by many, Savile was also known for making strange comments and behaving inappropriately, particularly toward his younger audience.
We have never seen such beauty. Hush, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're enthusiastic, these beautiful ladies. We have never seen such beauty on such a stage. It's delicious, delicious.
And give our love from Jim'll Fix It to everybody in Japan when you get back there.
Yes, we will.
She's so lovely, she's so beautiful and pretty. I don't think, explain to her, I do not think we will let her go back to Japan. I think we will keep her for ourselves. We keep you here all the time.
She wants to stay in London too.
She wants to stay. I've got myself a girlfriend. Wow. Listen, now then.
Let's have a look at good one. Wow. Fabulous. Fabulous. What
Well-
you got on, baby?
This is my design of an evening dress.
Wow. Yeah?
And if Zandro will help me, I'll take off the bottom layer and it'll become a party dress.
I'll have a go.
Oh. What? Stripping on, Jim will fix it. My word.
You can see I have two young ladies. They look like a pair of bookends because they are identical, you see. And some weeks ago, my friend on the left here, I did say, it's one of my girlfriends. So she has something to say back, which is...
This is my boyfriend.
Oh, so she said it, you see. Good, you did well there.
Although Jimmy Savile's behavior often raised eyebrows, most people dismissed it as part of his eccentric personality and didn't think much of it. That all changed, however, when serious allegations against him began to surface. By the early 2000s, towards the end of Savile's life, Surrey police in England had received dozens of reports about his misconduct, some dating back decades. Despite the rumors about his inappropriate behavior and multiple allegations made over the years, they were largely ignored, and Savile continued to make public appearances without any real scrutiny. But by 2007, the growing number of accusations forced authorities to take action, leading to an official investigation in which Savile was questioned by police. While the claims against him were disturbing, the Crown Prosecution Service ultimately ruled that there was insufficient evidence to move forward with charges. Although Jimmy Savile passed away in 2011, the true extent of his crimes only came to light after his death. On October 3, 2012, a documentary titled The Other Side of Jimmy Savile aired, featuring former detective Mark Williams Thomas, who had previously investigated allegations against Savile. In the documentary, several women came forward to share their experiences of being victimized by Savile as teenagers. The broadcast triggered a massive media frenzy, leading hundreds of other victims to come forward with their own allegations, forever shattering Savile's once beloved reputation. As the allegations grew, people began revisiting Savile's old television appearances with a new perspective. In one particularly disturbing clip, Savile can be seen inappropriately touching a young woman live on air.
The fella could get used to all this. As it happens, he really could get used to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, all we can say is...
The woman standing beside Savile was Sylvia Edwards, who was just 19 years old when the incident took place in 1976. Years later, she revealed to the media that she had reported Savile's inappropriate behavior to a BBC employee at the time, only to be dismissed and told to get lost, in her own words. Sadly, Sylvia's experience was just one of many. In the years following Savile's death, hundreds of other victims came forward with their own stories, with some estimates suggesting he had victimized up to 1,000 people over his nearly 5-decade career. What makes Savile's crimes particularly disturbing is the sheer scope of his depravity. While he primarily targeted young girls, his victims spanned all ages and backgrounds, both boys and girls, as well as men and women, ranging from as young as 5 to as old as 75. Savile exploited his powerful position at the BBC, which granted him unprecedented access to children and teenagers who were too afraid to speak out against such a high-profile figure. Even his extensive charitable work, which earned him widespread admiration, was driven by sinister motives. His generous donations to hospitals weren't acts of kindness, but calculated efforts to gain access to some of the most vulnerable individuals, whom he preyed upon with impunity. Jimmy Savile stands as a chilling reminder that even those who appear to be the most virtuous can hide unimaginable darkness. He will forever be known as one of the most disturbing figures in TV history. On the morning of August 26, 2015, news reporter Alison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward were in Monetta, Virginia, covering a segment for WDBJ News. They were interviewing a local named Vicki Gardner at Bridgewater Plaza, a shopping and entertainment complex near Smith Mountain Lake. It was supposed to be a fun segment where they discuss local tourism and economic development in the area. However, as they broadcast live on air, the interview would take a horrifying turn.
Can help us grow and develop to provide a better experience. We're saying tourism. We want the people that come here to say that was...
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. We will, of course, let you know as soon as we find out what those sounds were from.
Without warning, a gunman approached the three while they were live on air and opened fire. Alison Parker and Adam Ward were tragically killed at the scene after sustaining multiple gunshot wounds. Vicki Gardner, in a desperate attempt to survive, played dead but was still shot in the back. Despite her injuries, she managed to call for help and was rushed to the hospital, ultimately surviving the incident. As the chaos unfolded, Adam Ward's camera continued recording, capturing the horrifying incident in real time. The newsroom at WDBJ quickly reviewed the footage and identified the shooter as Vester Flanagan, a former disgruntled employee who had worked at the station under the professional name Bryce Williams. Flanagan had been fired 2 years earlier and had previously worked alongside both Parker and Ward. Following the attack, Flanagan fled the scene in a rented vehicle, triggering a massive manhunt. While on the run, he took to social media, posting disturbing messages on Twitter, including a claim that he had filmed the shooting. Investigators soon discovered that Flanagan had indeed uploaded a video of the attack from his own perspective to Facebook. Authorities eventually located Flanagan's vehicle on the highway and attempted to pull him over, but he refused to stop and eventually crashed after running off the road. When officers approached the wreck, they found Flanagan inside with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was airlifted to Inova Fairfax Hospital, but succumbed to his injuries just hours later. With Vester Flanagan deceased, investigators turned their attention to his background and social media presence in an effort to uncover a motive for his actions. His former colleagues from WDBJ were interviewed, and many described his behavior as aggressive and unsettling, with several admitting they had felt threatened and uncomfortable around him. Due to his volatile conduct, WDBJ terminated his employment in early 2013. When informed of his dismissal, Flanagan reacted with hostility, lashing out at newsroom staff, which ultimately led to police escorting him from the building. However, Flanagan's troubling behavior was not limited to his time at WDBJ. Following his death, Don Schaefer, a former supervisor who had hired Flanagan at a news station in Florida in 1999, shared his experiences working with him. Here's what he had to say.
He had increasing conflicts with people at the station, especially the floor crew, some of the other reporters, some of the photographers in the field, to the point where he was threatening people, had some physical confrontations with a couple of people, and at one point became such a distraction that we finally had to terminate him.
As part of their investigation, police also examined a lengthy fax Flanagan had sent to ABC News just hours after the shooting. The 23-page document, which Flanagan referred to as his manifesto, outlined his motives and deep-seated grievances. In it, he expressed long-standing anger and frustration with the world, but claimed that his final breaking point was the Charleston church shooting that had taken place just 2 months earlier. Flanagan wrote, quote, "The church shooting was the tipping point, but my anger has been building steadily. I've been a human powder keg for a while, just waiting to go boom." He further revealed that the church shooting inspired him to purchase a firearm, stating, quote, "Why did I do it? I put down a deposit for a gun on June 19th, 2015. The church shooting in Charleston happened on June 17th, 2015. The firearm he referenced was the same one he used to take the lives of Alison Parker and Adam Ward." Although no one could have predicted the horrifying act Flanagan would commit, signs of his distress were evident in the months leading up to the incident, both to those close to him and through public encounters. On July 6, 2015, just a month before the shooting, a man named Brandon Foster was driving when he noticed another driver behaving recklessly on the road. Concerned, Foster called out to the driver, warning him to be more cautious. After a brief exchange of words, Foster drove away. However, the man followed him into the parking lot of his destination, where Foster recorded the following video.
I've been finished.
Since you're in your car talking all that smack, now you're outside.
And you're still an asshole.
Okay. Are you finished?
I've been finished. You followed me here, asshole.
Okay, and you need to lose some weight, so.
Thanks. Talk to the mirror.
Excuse me?
Jesus Christ. You call a guy out for driving like a prick and he's gonna lose his mind.
At the time, Brandon Foster had no idea who the man in the video was. It wasn't until after the shooting that he realized the driver was Vesper Flanagan and uploaded the footage to YouTube. On its own, the video may seem like a minor road rage incident, but in light of the tragic events that followed, it takes on a much darker significance. It offers a glimpse into Flanagan's volatile state of mind, showing how easily he could escalate a simple encounter into something more troubling. His story is a harrowing example of how untreated mental health struggles and a destructive mindset can lead to devastating outcomes. On June 22, 1994, Colombia faced off against the United States in the 15th FIFA World Cup at the Rose Bowl Stadium, with hopes of advancing to the next stage. As the first half of the match progressed, the score remained 0-0 until something unexpected happened. The game ultimately ended in a 2-1 victory for the United States, resulting in Colombia's elimination from the tournament. Although Escobar's own goal was purely accidental, it would lead to fatal consequences for the 27-year-old defender. Following the match, Andres Escobar had the option to stay in the United States and spend time with relatives, but he chose to return to Colombia as he wanted to face his people rather than hide. By that point, the story of his own goal was dominating headlines across Colombia. The nation was not only heartbroken over their team's elimination, but also outraged, with many placing the blame squarely on Escobar's shoulders. On the evening of July 1st, Andres Escobar went out with friends to the El Indio nightclub in Medellin. While inside, a group of men mocked him over his mistake during the game, prompting him to leave and head to his car in the parking lot around 3 a.m. A short time later, the same group followed him to his vehicle, continuing to taunt him about the own goal. Escobar attempted to explain that it had been an honest mistake, but the confrontation quickly escalated when one of the men pulled out a firearm and shot him 6 times. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Andres Escobar passed away just 30 minutes later. In the weeks following the tragic death of Andres Escobar, news of his murder spread rapidly, leaving many in disbelief that a mistake on the soccer field could result in such a horrific outcome. Although Colombia's elimination from the World Cup had sparked frustration and disappointment, few could have imagined it would lead to such a violent act. The man who took Andres Escobar's life was identified as Humberto Castro Munoz, an enforcer for the Henao cartel with alleged ties to the infamous drug kingpin Pablo Escobar. He was arrested the night after the murder and found guilty the following year. It is believed that Munoz targeted Escobar because his own goal, which led to Colombia's elimination, resulted in millions of dollars in losses for the cartel's betting operations. Munoz was sentenced to 43 years in prison. However, he was released after serving only 11 due to good behavior. The death of Andres Escobar sent shockwaves through Colombia and the world as a whole. Millions mourned his tragic passing, with over 120,000 people attending his funeral. In a depressing turn of events, his murder stained Colombia's international reputation, something he had dedicated his soccer career to improving. Though Andres Escobar's life met a tragic end, he will forever be remembered by his nickname, the Gentleman of Football, a title that not only reflected his style of play on the field, but also his character in everyday life.